Hey guys, it's Cole Watkins with the Bridge Group, and I have a very special guest with me today. His name is Jason Ceyanes, and he is with Encompass. And so I'm going to let him introduce himself and his background. But, typically next week we're going to get into the real estate market update. And Kelly and I are always talking about how the real estate market is doing. But today we're talking about a completely different market, maybe not so different. Maybe there's some correlation there, but I'm going to let Jason talk to you about that. We have been very foreign to a different market, the stock market. I don't know anything about it, but Jason has been wonderful at educating us and taking us down that road. And I'm going to let him kind of talk about that. Jason, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're coming from, how you got into this industry.
Very good, most definitely. So my name is Jason Ceyanes. I am a certified financial planner with Encompass Advisory Services. We're an independent registered investment advisory firm here in the Katy area. Prior to coming into financial services, I was actually in public education for 18 years, including 5 years as a small school superintendent. I've got a Ph.D. in educational administration. Bottom line is, I just got burned out with the politics of dealing with crazy cheerleading moms. That's my one joke for the day, but it's actually true.
A lot of my clients are cheerleading moms, Jason.
Yeah, sorry, cheerleading moms, but no offense. Now, on a serious note, about 10 years ago, I just started getting really burned out with just the politics of public education. Was always interested in financial services and investing, so I made the transition. I worked for a nonprofit paternal life insurance annuity company for several years, was a managing partner there, and then about a year ago, I became an owner and partner in Encompass Advisory Services, where I'm the senior vice president for portfolio investments and portfolio development. And so I've been doing that now, and just love what I'm doing. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and you know what? So Kelly and I, and you know this, Jason, but Kelly and I we've been foreign to the whole investment, investing into the stock market, investing, into that market completely. But Jason came over, kind of gave us, this is what it looks like to do that. And we just invested, just a few months ago, maybe. And I've been very pleased with the return that Mr. Ceyanes
very good timing
helped us out with. So, good timing and everything. But at the same time, I think that you've definitely demonstrated market knowledge, which is, what all of our agents want to demonstrate for our clients is that we know the market, we know when it's the right time or right product to buy or sell. And so I think that, along with that comes extreme value. You've shown that. So just a couple questions right now. I know a lot of people always ask me, how's the market? But I wanted to ask you, how is the stock market? How is investing in the stock market? What does that look like? Given coronavirus, given everything else that has been going on this year?
Well, absolutely. Well, the very first thing that I would like to say is that if there is any investment advisor or analyst or someone who's writing an article that tries to predict and tell you what's about to happen in the future of the stock market, they simply don't know what they're talking about. And the reason is because we are clearly in unprecedented times. Never in our history has the government come in and literally shut down the economy for 2 to 3 months. And so anybody that tries to use any of the past indicators or all of the stuff, the fundamentals and the like, it's just not really valid. But what you can be is educated in what the market is doing, what the economy is doing, and that's what I help people do. There is a difference between timing the market and positioning yourself well within the market in the right sectors that are about to perform, maybe been underperforming and they're about to start performing, or vice versa. There's a buy and hold strategy that's out there, and typically when the market's going down, you definitely don't want to sell when the market's going down unless you're really using a strategy and working with a professional in doing so, because history tells us that if you just kind of hang on, that it will eventually turn back up, which is what we've seen here. However, if you're working with a professional and you can reposition your portfolio to where you're actually putting into securities that are going to have a better rebound or a better recovery because maybe they had a bigger pullback than other sectors, then you can actually increase your overall gains by working with a professional who knows how to position your portfolio in the right sectors.
Right.
I will say just in quickly, overall market, because that was really kind of the question that you asked.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the S&P 500 is back to where it was. It's back to even. The Dow is just slightly under. It's about 3% down from where we were in February. And the NASDAQ is actually up 10% on the year and has hit another all-time high. And so the market is still a little bit mixed, but your portfolio should be pretty close to back to where they were in February, unless it was just sitting in something that wasn't working and you didn't have anybody helping you to reposition to help in that recovery.
Yeah, and one of the things you just said is so important, Jason, is working with a professional. And it seems like now, what is it, Robinhood, and there's a couple other platforms to where obviously technology has been such a blessing in most aspects as far as helping consumers be a little bit more involved with what they're doing. However, when it comes to making moves with your finances, like for me, when I gave you that my money, I'm like, if I don't trust myself to find and pick and know what it, and you didn't just say like, well, here's a couple things that we already have, packages we put together. You put my money in things that some of them I said I want higher risk, some of them I wanted lower risk or moderate risk. But I don't have the knowledge and expertise to do that. You do. Same thing with real estate. When we're talking about real estate, and we teach this all the time, is that if you're looking to buy or sell, there are people that are going straight to Zillow and having Zillow buy their house for 14% of more than what we would charge, and they think they're getting a win. It's not. Or for sale by owner, we want to try to get in and get out with as least amount of fees as possible, but you don't have the market knowledge that a professional would have to give you a better advantage. I know that I would not get the return that I'm getting if I didn't use a professional and I tried to use one of these little apps that is cool to tinker around with. Unless you do it like at your level or someone like a professional's level, I don't think you're going to receive the benefits that you would otherwise.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of the biggest things that I do is I help people deal with their natural reaction to the market, because obviously you want to buy low and sell high, but what people tend to do is that high and sell low. And so one of the biggest things that I do is help people to control that natural tendency to do the opposite of what you're supposed to do, and then shifting people into the right sectors. For example, the large cap value ETFs and large cap value companies were really good prior to the pandemic. But anytime you're having a recovery, small companies tend to recover more quickly than large value companies. So by just doing a little shift from large value companies to small cap values, you can increase your returns by maybe 2, 3, or 4%. You do that over the course of a 10, 15, 20-year time period, it can really make a difference in your portfolio. Not to mention in the current environment we're in, even though the market overall is still is getting real close or back to even or even at all-time highs, there are still sectors out there that are 40, 50, 60% discounted right now, that once we get the recovery in some of the other pieces of the portfolio, then we can sell off, take those gains, and shift over into something that's much better value that we can also take advantage of the increase when that sector starts to come back as well.
Wow, that's information that, I mean, you're never going to get or be able to do on a silly app, right? Just for myself. So I appreciate that information. One last thing, this is an election year. And one thing that I do always kind of keep an eye on within the stock market, because it has an effect on my market as well, is the election year. Kind of talk to us a little bit about what the stock market usually does on an election year, what to be aware of, and kind of how you think that this election year is going to affect the market.
Very good. Well, once again, we kind of fall into that category of we're in unprecedented times. Historically, the first half of the year for a presidential year tends to do really well. And then on the second half of the year, people start getting a little bit more cautious based on who they believe is ultimately going to win the election. Historically, also, typically the year after the presidential election year, there's a lot of research, and you can spin statistics however you want, but it tends to do better. You have that first half of the year building up, and then the second half pulling back, and then after the election, regardless if it's a Republican or Democrat, you typically see a pop just because there's no longer the uncertainty. Now, there's certain argument between which political party might have a better impact on the overall market. But where we're unprecedented is as the economy is pulling out. I actually believe that most analysts and myself believe that Q3 and Q4 should be good, assuming we don't have some unexpected, rebound of the coronavirus or a war or something that we're not really anticipating.
2020 has been one hell of a year, and I think it's it's just who knows, murder hornets or whatever else is going to come out of anything. But I think that's and when we were talking last time, you were mentioning that sometimes it does kind of ride on the candidates, that for president. But this year, you and many others feel like both candidates would be safe for a lot of business and the stock market values, at least.
Yeah, I think that there were some candidates that were in the election process early that could have had a very negative impact on the overall economy and stock market just because of some of the agendas that they were promoting. I think there is a general consensus that both of the candidates, assuming that it ends up being Trump and Biden, which I think that's all been solidified at this point, pending something else happening. But they're business friendly for the most part, and like I said, we could debate and argue on which one would actually have a better impact on the market. I know I have my personal belief on that, but I'll refrain from sharing that in this forum.
Well, awesome. Jayson, thank you so much for your time today. And hey, guys, I know this is typically all things real estate, but we want to be of more value than just real estate. And things that whether it's a restaurant with the best margarita in Houston, or if it's a relationship that I have and a resource that I have that has been extremely beneficial, like Jayson, then I want to share that with you. And sometimes you can only talk so much about real estate. So I wanted to send this out. I hope you found it valuable as well. All of Jayson's contact information is going to be down below. Feel free to check it out. His cell phone, can we call, text, email? What's best for you, Jayson?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm pretty much available. My contact information is my cell phone. I make myself available to my clients pretty much 24/7. So email or text is probably the best, but you can certainly give me a call as well.
Awesome. And guys, remember, if you have anyone, you yourself, or you know of anyone that needs to buy, sell, or lease, please feel free to reach out to Kelly, myself, and the Bridge Group. We'd love to give you the same great services we have the rest of our clients. Y'all have a great rest of the week. And Jayson, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.